So welcome back to the Top 5 Sports NBA podcast. We are back after damn near a month break. It's been a little bit since we last recorded, but you know, life happens. We got stuff going on. We still got 9 to 5s and whatnot.
Right.
but it's good to be back. Eric, my boy, what's good? How you been?
I'm good, man. Living, like you said, 9 to 5s, working. So yeah, it's been a little bit since we recorded, but the beauty of that, there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about because we haven't recorded in a while. And a lot of things, not only, even if we recorded, let's say last week, it'd still be a shit ton. So we got a lot to talk about. And it's funny, we're probably going to change the structure a little bit just because we have so much to talk about. But yeah, man, a lot to get into today.
Yeah. And, we always start off our podcast with the Chicago Bulls. Through thick and thin, we're fans, Chicago Bulls base. And what you just said about how much a story might change a week ago versus what it is today, I think that applies perfectly to the Bulls because even from like the notes I was putting down, like, we were going to record earlier in the week, I was like, is this a situation where we should start thinking about draft position versus, actually pushing for the playoffs? But since then, the Bulls have won 3 straight and things have changed. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and start this off with our Chicago Bulls because this is actually probably one of the most Bulls intensive podcasts we'll do because there's been a lot of shit going on. Obviously, the big trade at the deadline in which we acquired Vucevic as well as Troy Brown Jr., as well as Aminu, and shipped off some of the guys that have been a part of this team that we've discussed in length. Got Wendell out of there, Gafford out of there, and it's just a different team. So, man,
so ass out of here.
Well, like, where were you? We were texting, but like, what were your thoughts on that first hit? Like, what? How do you feel about it initially?
Bro, yeah, I mean, if for those who listen, if you follow me on Instagram, I queued up the theme song, Bulls theme song, bro. 90s, coming out, bro. I was ready, bro.
Yeah,
we got Vooch, bro. What? Nikola Vucevic, bro, 2-time All-Star. I gotta tell people, bro, I love Vooch. Like, I love his game. He definitely has some defensive deficiencies, but I mean, it's nothing that's like glaring. It's just that he doesn't have the agility and foot speed that some other people have. But like, bro, it's not really a hole in his game outside of that. Can pass the shit out of the ball, can shoot, great pick and popper. One of those few people that can still get nasty on the low post and does a lot of his work down there. He's one of 4 people in the NBA right now, averaging 24 and 10. And the Bulls have never had a player average that ever.
Yeah.
And Vooch he's disgusting, bro. I was so right. I think a lot of people nationally, whether you're a fan, a true fan of NBA or a casual fan, he's in Orlando. So a lot of people don't really get to see him that often. It's not they get a lot of like major games and TV time. So, you would have to know Vooch and really be a fan of NBA to know him. But that motherfucker's a dog, bro.
Yeah.
A dog. I was happy.
Yeah. Just take a second and just like, I've literally been in awe watching these games. And it's funny because your boy KD, one of your sons, he cites Vooch as being one of his favorite players in the NBA to watch. And, kind of echoing what you said as far as like people don't watch the Magic, which is true. I've just been like blown away. Because like the skill level is just ridiculous, man. Like I'm thinking about all the big men I watch across the league. There's not a lot of guys who play like him anymore.
Nah, bro.
It's just like that touch, like the post hook, like the jumper. He has a quick release, and it's always on. Like he can pass. He's strong, and even defensively, he's enough of a vet to understand positioning and rotation. And he's strong. And I always say this: defensive rebounding in general is something a lot of people dismiss when it comes to playing defense, but that's the end of the possession. It's extremely important. So it's like I'm literally in awe. I can't think of a big man. I mean, I guess our past most skilled big man in the most recent Bulls time has been like what Paul Gasol, we'd say, or Carlos Boozer prior, and just off of these few games, I see a much more skilled scorer than Vucevic, and I'm literally in awe. I like every game I've been like, whoa, like this is so crazy to go from Wendell Carter and Gafford and
The
Felicio to
Booch,
seeing this
bro.
dude, bro, just work, man. So,
Yeah, no, bro. And that's the thing to my to your point, Quincy. You know, Vucevic, man, is he just he in addition to being extremely skilled, he just does everything the right way. And that's why NBA players love watching him play. That's why they respect his game. That's why, you know, KD even picked him to be on his team in the All-Star game. Like Vooch really is a phenomenal player. He just played in Orlando. And he's the type of person that just kind of gets, you know, it done. But it's crazy, man. It's like some things were written well before. Like I think Vooch is 30. So, you know, he's a couple months older than I am, I believe. And yeah, dude, like, I mean, we grew up, whether you lived in the US, whether you lived in Chicago, if you were like a 90s baby, like you grew up with like Michael Jordan and knowing that. And like Vooch, even though, you know, being a European, like I think it was written, bro, like he was rocking a Bulls fit, like decked out. The Bulls dropped it like when he was like 5 or 6, decked out in Bulls gear, bro. So it's good to have him here, man. I think he's going to be a big asset to our team, you know, just helping us grow, not only just in terms of the win column, but just like how to work, how to get better. It's not like Vooch came into the league like as like some, you know, he's a first round draft pick, but it wasn't like he came in out of USC like, oh my God, Vucevic. Like, no, he like made himself into that player. So like he's going to show a lot of guys how to work, how to get it done. And that pick and pop, pick and roll between him and Zach, when the continuity and the chemistry with that gets down.
Woo! Yeah, and it's already
Scary.
looking pretty good, which is what's crazy. And so he, you know, Zach had 13 assists last night against Toronto, and a lot of that just you know, I attract so much attention being the scorer that I am, and these are simple passes. It's either mid-range knockdown, knocking down threes, rolling hard to the basket, and finishing. It's just like things are just becoming so much easier for Zach LaVine. So in a sense, it's like he's being unlocked. So like, LaVine's scoring has been down since Vucevic just came over, which is probably to be expected. But his assist totals have went up, and ironically, his turnover numbers have stayed the same, if not lowered a little bit, which is a good sign as well. I'm gonna get into a little bit about like the big picture things that Vooch brings, but man, like you just talk about how that trade just really made this team just different. Like it's a way much more serious team. Like these are professionals hooping on this team. You got guys like Thad Young now and Vooch, and you know even you know Troy Daniels. He's young, but Troy Daniels. I'm drawing a blank. Troy Brown. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Troy. He's young, but and you know, it's just me just being too much. But I've already like witnessed his approach to the game, and there just seems to be a little bit higher level of maturity to the way he's coming at it. And it seems like we've already like settled on a rotation as well. And so like, man, it's clear now that the push is for the playoffs this season. The Bulls have a favorable schedule now moving forward. And it's something I heard somebody talk about either a post game or a podcast I was listening to. But when it comes to getting free agents to a town, to a city, to a destination, Chicago always gets mentioned, and for good reason. It's a big market, a lot of opportunities off the court, as well as like loyal fan base. Like Chicago's a great place to come play any sport. And we've kind of failed throughout the years to like bring that guy in, but the comment somebody was made was like when you have 2 All-Stars already on the roster, bringing in that third becomes a lot less easier, or a lot more easier, as opposed to being in a situation where you just got Zach, or you know the Bulls have been so bad lately. Like how will a player of any caliber really feel about coming to this situation? But now probably going to be one of those destinations that a lot of good players are going to start looking at seriously. So this is actually super exciting times. Bulls fan.
It is, and I mean, hats off to the front office, new front office. Hats off to AK. Hats off to Chris Everly. Hats off to Billy Donovan being the coach, even though he's not in the front office. It's just, there's a clear commitment to winning and building a winning culture. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that all of us can get from this is that there's a clear commitment to that. Billy Donovan, you alluded to it. He's shortened up his rotation. He's going, 8 guys, 9 at most. And that night being Troy Brown and, Lowry and Kobe are coming off the bench now.
Love that.
Daniel Tice, who I love.
Yep.
Daniel Tice is a big game. Like, and then back to AK to kind of tie this all together. Like, we traded Gatford and Hutch for Mo Wagner, who played at Michigan, was at that final. No, I think it was when they went to the championship there under Beeline, and then and then Troy Brown.
Right.
Then we flipped Mo for Daniel Tice, bro. Like, who was a
Mo
very
and
quality big.
Cornette too.
Yeah, Cornette. Yeah, we flipped Mo and Cornette for Daniel Tice and Javonte Smart. And like, I'm like, bro, Javonte's super athletic. I don't know if he's got a chance, but he's an athletic guy. But Daniel Tice, bro, who's played heavy minutes in the playoffs, super athletic, can knock down a 3. Only thing with Tice is that he's like 6'8", 6'9", so undersized. Like, in Boston, I feel like, they weren't really using him the way that he could be, but coming off the bench is a phenomenal role for him, bro. Like, it gives us a different look. He's defensive minded too, man. So I just love what AK did, man. And like, that's a clear sign that, Jerry Reinsdorf and the Bulls ownership are really going to let AK and Chris Everly spin and do what they do. Because even Pat, Pat Dub, bro. Pat Williams is coming along too, bro. And like everything is just fitting in place. And like he's building a team that very complement each other. Like, it's not a lot of times you get an all-star like Vooch, or you bring in a Daniel Tice who's got playing time, or you move starters, young starters like Lowry and Kobe to the bench, and that shit actually makes sense. And it's not like you're cannibalizing anything else from the team. Like, this shit is just naturally happening, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah,
so I
really does. Yeah, I mean, this roster right now, so obviously there's tiers for this, and we're not really going to be challenging to win the conference. But this roster, without a doubt, is so deep, and now like Kobe and Laurie have been destroying teams like that bench unit. And it's weird because Laurie's been playing a little bit of the 3 now as well. They're like, snap of your fingers, the Bulls have one of the best benches now in the NBA because it's just, like I said, it's just something it just happened so quick, and frankly the Bulls haven't been playing particularly well, especially right after the trade happened. There was some lulls and some bad games, and at one point the Magic had a better record than the Bulls did, but I think the 2 games that kind of flipped the switch for me, even though there were losses, was when they played the Jazz and the Suns, who are the best 2 teams in the West. And I watched those games very closely, and just the difference in how the team felt. And man, like, I got some stats to pull up about how Vooch changes this team, but like, just from eye test alone, first of all, they were in these games and arguably could have won them, but it's just night and day from the teams that we used to see. And I'm pretty sure one of the games the Bulls only had 6 turnovers. I think it was against the Jazz, and then against the Suns they only had 9 turnovers, which I was gonna mention because Bulls before Vucevic, the worst team in the NBA as far as turnovers go, and something that I was looking forward to at least was, now that we have a established number 1 or number 2, because frankly he's been our top scorer since he's came here. But now we have somebody to just commit to run offense through. It takes off so much pressure of our guards. It takes more pressure off Zach, more pressure off Kobe, more pressure off Sato. So you can just dump the ball down the boost and let him create. And what's even crazier is we're kind of giving those same looks to Thad Young, who's a sneaky good low post scorer in his own right, and a great passer. And so we're starting to see the Bulls turnovers go down, right? So it's really just like a trickle down effect of how this offense is much better. And, we mentioned Levine, his assists are going up, and like the type of basketball I'm seeing is just like really, really, really promising. So it's I don't got enough good. Obviously, I wish we get more W's, but I can't. I keep
Yeah,
being so happy.
it's the first time in a long time where I've honestly felt like the Bulls have a future, and
Yeah,
by no means does this mean like, oh, they're going to be a contender in 2 years. That doesn't mean
right,
any of that shit. Like, it doesn't even mean five, but it's like they have a clear direction on how they want to build this out, and that's what's important to me, right? Like, they're going out and getting pieces to say like, hey, we want to win, and that's going to be compelling to free agents, as we talked about a little
yeah,
bit before. As not only that Vooch and Zach are both all stars, it's the fact that they're all stars. They play the right way. They have a coach with Billy who's like committed to winning. You've seen what he's done, in his time in OKC, whether you want to say they underperformed or not. Like, I don't think that they made the Western Conference a couple of times when he was coaching. And then they went back. They were one game away from, playing the Lakers in the second round last year. Right. So just overall, man, just overall, like, I just couldn't be more excited about it, where we're at, and just happy about what we've done and what that means. But one good thing is, if you listen to the pod, I'll definitely talk about tanking, because I love this draft class. So I think that is likely out of the window now. But what I do love that AK did, it is top 4 protected. So those 4 guys that I've been talking about. But I'm like, hey man, if we can get Cade, if we can get Jalen Suggs, if we can get Evan Mobley from USC, if we can get Jalen Green, who's on the Ignite team, like, boom, like, that's just still a possibility. You never know.
Right.
I just need Adam Silver, to put in the fix, and just go ahead and how we got Derrick Rose,
that D Rose luck,
how we got that D Rose pick when we got like a 0.00001 chance or something like that. Right. I need that to happen for this, because man, a lot of potential for us right now.
Yeah, for real. And the last little stat I wanted to add too is that even throughout the Bulls' struggles throughout the season, I always thought they played a real unselfish style of basketball offensively. And again, so since we acquired Vucevic, we went from the 8th ranked team in the NBA as far as assists per game, and now we're sitting at number 2, like 0.1 off of the Brooklyn Nets. So there's a joy in watching this team play, as far as how they move out the ball, and they got players from the guard spot to the big spot, who are willing and good passers. Like that young, we call him Thaddeus Johnson for a reason. Like, I'm winning money in parlays because they, for whatever reason, these people who set these bets haven't realized that he'll get you an easy 4, maybe even 6 assists every game. Like, this is how he plays. Like, Patrick Williams is learning how to position himself and make those cuts at the right time. And it's the beautiful flowing basketball is also another trait of this team that I just love, man. And moving it, like, I'm just looking at the schedule right now. I legitimately don't see a game where I don't like the Bulls until we play the Heat at the end of April. We got the Hawks tonight. We got Timberwolves, Grizzlies, the Magic, Grizzlies again, Cavs, Celtics were struggling, Cavs again. And I'm just like, wow, these are a lot of winnable basketball games. And
yeah, definitely.
I won't be surprised. Like, I legitimately wouldn't be surprised if we get into that 6th spot and avoid having to play in some of those play-in tournaments. But
yeah, I can see it,
man. It's great times, man. It's great times.
It's a great time to be a Bulls fan. So
I don't even know how to act.
It's been a long road for us. Like, we've been very open and honest about how we felt about the Bulls brash last year, and don't have to get into that. But yeah, it's been exciting to see and what's happening. But obviously, with the Bulls making all the moves that they made, it's crazy because a lot of other teams made a lot of shit ton of moves too, bro. Which is like, because like it, for me, I think we definitely made one of the best, but it's one of those things where it's like a lot of other teams that are like already in position, like they made fucking moves too, and I'm like, wow. So, the NBA has been working. That's for sure. The front office has been getting everything that they're worth right now.
We've gotten to see, like, again, the perk of waiting a little bit. We've gotten to see so many of these things materialize. Like, I'm watching the Clippers play second best team in the West in the Suns last night, and it's Ray John Wando making plays late in the game, making
Yeah,
threes
right.
and Chris Paul's plays. And you go over to Denver and Aaron Gordon has found a way to fit perfectly within that system, kind of filling that void that's been gone since they lost Grant to Detroit. And Oladipo, unfortunately, he got hurt last night. I haven't had an update on his progress or the results from whatever happened to him, but the Heat, like it's legitimately uh, a wild time. Well, as it is every year, but like teams are really locking down now, and we're starting to get to that point of the season where it's like it's about to be go time for sure.
Yeah, man. It's just a lot of moves, like you said. Although, and I think it's not just moves being made, but it's moves for teams that are in position to win. So, like
Right.
the Nuggets, I don't know if they'll make it to the championship, but they definitely can go back to the Western Conference. And you go grab a guy like Aaron Gordon, who is a perfect complement to what they're doing there. You literally just plug him in. He can knock down an open shot, from three, super athletic, gonna rebound the basketball, like, oh, plug and chug there. Oladipo with the Heat, like that's literally he's the Heat guy to a T. Like just gritty, had to grind for his. He's there now. But the biggest thing for me is like, dude, and again, I'm gonna pat my back, but I definitely picked the Nets to win the championship. And bro, those dudes are retooling.
Yeah.
First and foremost, anyone who thought Blake Griffin, who had like a 47-inch vertical at the height of his career, still couldn't dunk and he's 6'10", like you need to reevaluate some things because that's just the crazy shit I heard. Like people, Blake Griffin hasn't dunked in 2019. I'm like, bro, what's like he was hurt and then it was COVID. Like,
right.
Come on now. And now Blake Griffin's out here like looking like, playing point forward and playing kind of the Draymond Green role for them. Then they go get LaMarcus Aldridge, who like, last year averaged 18. He was had a down year this year, but it was just because like it just wasn't fit. That's why they got the buyout. LA had like, I think he had like 22 like against the Bulls like this past week.
Right.
Like it's just like, bro, it's just like, man, these dudes, dude, like they're just getting pieces that just fit. And yeah, man, it's getting scary hours. Oh, another buyout. We didn't even discuss this, man. Like fucking Drummond's with LA now. Like, and that like bring that front court now, like defensively at least. You got Bron, Drummond, and AD.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's Trez off the bench, and then Schroeder's a phenomenal ball pressure, and then you got KCP, who's a very above average defender as well too. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going
that's on. For me, when you think big picture wise, that the Lakers' size is going to be probably what they're going to have to go to if we see that matchup in the finals with the Nets or even throughout the playoffs. They're easily one of the biggest teams in quality in their big men too, because Gasol has kind of fell out of the big picture. I could probably see series where he might not be playing too often, depending on who they play, but it's an option. It's an option to switch it up, and he's still too good of a player, especially mentally, to understand how he can have an impact. But yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how some of these things unfold. And I listened to a pod the other day. I heard that I heard that Jokic already has more assists to Aaron Gordon and maybe the 5-6 games they played together than any other Magic player had to him in his tenure.
Wow,
in Orlando. Yeah, Vucevic was like the lead before that, and it must have been like less than 20, and Jokic is already
insane
past that. So
just a great fit, man. Just great pickups by these front offices. Like,
but so I wanted to ask, how do you feel about just the buyouts, and if that's something that like you think there needs to be a tweak as far as what the team who gets these buyouts take on, because it's one of those things where obviously player movement. I know how you are. You want guys to go where you want to go, but it seems to always be a situation where a player, maybe a little bit past their prime, is kind of just being in a position where a team who are already in championship contention are just getting another really, really high quality player without having to take on any of that type of financial burden. So how do you, like, are you okay with it is how it is right now, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with it because I mean, with the buyout at the end of the day, if the contract was favorable and you structured it the right way, you would find trade suitors for that player. So, like, if you put yourself in a position where someone has a large contract, they're not part of the big picture, and you don't want them just sitting there, like, that's on the front office that gave that player that contract. You know what I mean? Like, no one told the Pistons to trade for Blake Griffin to pair him with Andre Drummond after the Clippers gave him $137 million. Like, no one told them to do that, right? Like, and then you have buyout situations where, like the Spurs, they definitely could have still used LaMarcus, but they want to give some of their younger, players some run. So they were like, you know what, LA will buy you out just out of respect and let you go somewhere. So it's that mix. I don't think it's an issue. I think it's fine. You're starting to see finally because these players who are good now they're going to good teams, and that's just shifting things. Like you talk about Drummond, like. The Cavs traded for Drummond for what? Why you didn't need him? There was no reason for you to have him, and you realize that. And like, it's like, okay, Drummond's not going to re-sign here now, so we might as well just buy him out and like let Jared Allen get some run, right? Because you don't want to just pay somebody on the bench. Like at least like you gonna cut your losses, like versus paying them the entire amount. Yeah. So I mean, it works hand in hand, but it's just mainly with buyout. You got to think it comes down to these organizations making better financial decisions on what makes sense. Yeah. It sucks, but because it's like, well, everyone's going here. It's like, yeah, at that point they're a free agent. They can do whatever they want to do. But if there was trade value, because like let's talk about Oladipo. Oladipo's been traded what? 2 times in the last like 6 months. Yeah. Bro, shit, think about it. Like, and he is 2 times in the last 6 months, and Alo is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Mm-hmm. So like there's still value there. Like he not being if it wasn't value, then he would be bought out too. But like that's why he has trade value, even with him being able to walk the following season. Right. So because like I think about this, a guy that I like a lot, Drew Holiday playing with the Bucks. I think Drew's super underrated. Like think about the extension that the Bucks just gave Drew Holiday. I think it was like 4 years, $140 million or 144. Yeah. So Drew is 30 or 31, 30. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the end of this contract, bro, because he's obviously going to opt into his last year for it. You're going to be looking at 33 or 34 possibly, or excuse me, you're gonna be looking at 34, 35. Like at the very end, if he's in and out, like bro. So if you the Bucks, you just get his contract. Like if Drew Holiday gets bought out at some point, within the next 2 to 3 years and goes to a contender, like I won't be surprised because of the contract you just gave him at 30, 31 years old. Like it's shit like that. Like at the time of you think about it, like, oh, that's cool. It makes sense. But the reality of it is like you have to forecast down the line and how that's going to affect things.
Yeah, that's true. I actually do support the move the Bucks made because, I mean, like it's just a commitment, man. And sometimes you just got to look around and be like you play in Milwaukee. You know what I mean? You play in Milwaukee. It's like the thought of getting somebody at or above Drew Holiday's
no, that's too real though, bro.
Very unlikely. So sometimes you gotta have to cough up that bread, and like you still got very young Giannis who should, I believe in him, his ability to continue to improve as a player. So I'm not mad at it, and
yeah, I'm not mad at it either. It's just like those are the type of things that happen. You know what I mean? And then these buyouts come later on, and like people get upset, and it's like, man, it's just what it is.
It's just what it is. Yeah, I feel it. Well, so we talk about this a lot, and a part of what makes NBA great is that virtually 365 days a year, there's some stuff that's going on outside of the court that just it's so polarizing. We got to cover it. We got to give attention. And there's been a few things that's happened.
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, because there's a few things that happened. So last time we recorded, I think we can start anywhere. But the one that for me is probably the most enjoyable thing to talk about, in my opinion, is our boy. It's our boy Paul Pierce, man.
I've been at Turkeys before. We've been at Turkeys before.
I'm laughing thinking about it because,
bro,
it's one of those moments where it's just like I'm sure we all scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through the gram, and we see it. It was just like, bro, the eyes, bro. The eyes are one of the things that just kind of put you off to it right away because them eyes were like gone, bro.
Yeah, the dude is a nut, man.
And I wonder if he has like another. I didn't look into it much further as far as if that was intentional for him to go live, but it seemed like he was, he was comfortable doing it. I'm granted he's he's a TV, so he's coming in front of the camera, but the way he was, I can't remember the young lady's name, but like Veronica or something, you can come make some money.
Yeah, Monica, come make some money, girl.
Come on, you can make some money, girl.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, did you think that would lead to him and ESPN parting ways?
Yeah, 100%. I immediately knew that was going to happen. So for context, for those who don't know what happened, our boy, Paul Pierce, all right, the truth, as he's called, that man on his own, this was not an accident, got on Instagram and got on live. And, everyone woke up last Saturday to seeing Paul Pierce. And it wasn't even a lot of people in the live either, bro. It was like 300 people in this shit. It wasn't cracking. Got up to his live, and Paul Pierce, he was smoking weed like, most of us do. No problem. Mm-hmm. It's just funny because of who he is. Like, he's an NBA Hall of Famer, 26,000 points. He works on ESPN, like almost like the face of like their basketball unit, along with Jalen Rose. He was smoking. He was getting his hair cut. He had some women who were working for some money. Working for some money. We all like that. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
Doing that in the panoramic, as our boy Gunner would say, at the crib. And so Paul Pierce was just getting it in. And the optics did not look great. And again, ESPN is owned by Disney, which is a family network. So it's kind of like, you knew that was going to happen. But I'll promise y'all, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure most of you listen to this podcast, you've seen it. But like, if you haven't, you need to go look at that. Because that man was like, he was on one. Like, at one point, there was one woman there who was working, and she had an accent, and she was like, "Oh, is she from Istanbul? We've been there. We've been to Turkey's before. We've been to Turkey's. First of all, it's called Turkey." It was just like, bro, what is going on? And the crazy thing is, like, all the NBA players were in the comments talking about this shit too. Like, they were going nuts and dying laughing, bro. Like, Dame Lillard, like, quoting it, Draymond quoting it, like, bro. But yeah, I don't think Paul cared because he woke up the next morning, bro. It was like 11 o'clock, bro. I'm not even gonna forget it. 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, and his tweet was "Good morning, bro." Yeah, that is not a mug who gets on live and like just wild out,
right?
And then after he got fired, he was like, I'm good. Like, I'm still living. Like, he's made a shit ton of money. He's like, he's just working at ESPN to work there. It's not like he needed that shit. At least I don't think he did.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Shout out to the truth, bro.
Yeah, no,
definitely gained some of my respect. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, for real. I think that's so. Yeah, Paul Pierce is one of those guys that like his reputation. No, not this is a certain. His reputation post basketball has actually been kind of bad given the type of player he was. Like, there's legitimate disrespect to the caliber of player that Paul Pierce was, which is annoying. But that's just people troll or whatever, or people just legitimately don't know. Maybe that's because some of his takes are maybe a little out there, or some people are just too young to like even witness Pierce in his prime. Because even when he won those championships in Boston, or when he was playing against LeBron in Miami, he was still that dude. I'm pretty sure he was a Finals MVP, right? He was an MVP of the series when they beat the Lakers.
So people just don't like Paul. It's just as him as a person. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing but. Dude, like, that showed is like we just all had that dude. Those who didn't like it just all wrong. Like, he just one of the homies, bro. He just Paul Pierce is just literally just if you've ever been to LA or people from LA, like, he's just a LA nigga, bro. That's who he is, bro. Like, that's Paul. Like, there's nothing like, and I saw that, I'm like, this all makes sense why he operates the way he operates now. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I understand why he won the MVP. He said he was better than Kobe, even though he was in a wheelchair after he shit on himself the series. Like, I get it. All this shit makes sense to me, bro. Shout out Paul Pierce, bro. That shit was hilarious, dude. It was so funny.
If he wants to still cover the NBA, I'm sure there'll be someone, some
I
network
mean,
that will hire him.
Dude, did you see? Speaking of a network, an adult film site offered him like $250,000 to host an NBA show already.
Oh my God. I did not peep that. I did not peep that.
So Paul Pierce, that man knew he was gonna be all right. So
he'll be straight, bro.
Which is funny because like an adult film site, bro, he was just restricted. He wasn't doing anything crazy, but like it was just,
right. It's like there's so many dudes in the NBA who literally they may have been doing that themselves in the same hour Paul Pierce was doing it. You feel me?
Oh, but yeah. He just decided to film it.
He decided to film. Part of me, that wasn't his first time doing that. He has to have another Instagram. I feel like he may have just went live on the wrong one.
Well, he might. I mean, he might for sure.
Like that wasn't his first time doing that, bro. Having that type of party, having that type of affair.
Oh,
it wasn't
no,
his first
no,
time.
no,
it wasn't his first time going live on Instagram either. He's been on it, like. So who knows, bro? But I don't know. Hey, Paul, you a legend, man. You a legend, Paul.
He honestly he did not care at all, and that's what made it even funnier. Because like for him to like do that, and most people wake up like, oh, I'm so sorry, like that was an accident. Like he woke up because he really didn't do anything wrong. He was just like, yeah, what's up, y'all?
Right. He didn't break no laws.
He didn't break one law. Like weed is legal in California. Decriminalized. Like, I mean, the women there were work for money. They weren't wasn't prostitution, any of that. So like he didn't break any laws. There's nothing wrong with anything he did. It just doesn't look right. And like he like, fuck it, I'm living my life, bro. Yeah. I mean, now I don't know if he's married and have a family. That's a different story. But like, if he's single, hey, do you, bro?
Yeah. But we all know even then, when you're in the league, being married with kids, the same rules don't apply, man.
That's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah. All right, bro. You want to talk about your boy, man? I'm gonna let you lead for your son in this situation. Obviously, this sort of way to all the ESPN talk shows and all that stuff, but we definitely got to address it.
Yeah. So yeah, my oldest son, KD, Kevin Durant.
Bro, you sound like an upset. You sound like an upset father right now, bro.
Him and Michael Rappaport, the actor, New York guy from New York, big Knicks fan. I mean, he at one point he worked at Barstool, had a falling out with them, not there anymore. He's done stuff for the Big Three. He was, I think most people in the Black community or anyone else would know him. I don't know, probably from like. He was in Friday, next Friday. He was like the male guy when he came, like the Cucamonga Cracker Killers. It was him. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna be honest, like it's tough. It's not even about KD. It's just because like what KD said, there were some Instagram DMs that were exposed. KD, said some things that you don't want to have get out there. Specifically because it was just, rude, disgusting, disrespectful, to certain communities. So, whatever you do in the comfort of your own home, like you still have to move the right way. So like KD is definitely at fault there because you never want to, think that you get a pass just because something's behind closed doors. Like that's really who you are. So he needs to, button that up for himself and do some self-reflection because that's where it comes at. But it's like, to have that like leak out and somebody like take screenshots and all that, like, for me, like Michael Rappaport, I've never liked him, and like this just solidified why. Like he just, he's just a thorn ass dude, bro. Like who takes, for somebody especially like him, who if anyone knows, like he talks a ton of shit. He's always instigating. He's always getting into something with someone. For him to do all that and like, talk down about people in some places just blatantly disrespectful, and then like. Someone's saying that to him, and then he comes back and like, oh, look what's been saying to Kevin Durant. I'm like, bro. And then he had Kevin Durant on one of his shows, even though they're not cool. Like, Michael Rappaport has a show where he like reads mean tweets, and Kevin like came on there because he thought it was funny. And so it was like, bro, this was 2 years ago. Like, I mean, you just some foul shit, bro. Just foul. And foul both ways because KD, the way he was talking was foul. Yeah. And Michael Rappaport for exposing that shit was foul. So just a disgusting look all around, bro.
That's really the only take that I would accept is just on both ends. the word therm is really, really accurate to describe Rappaport. Like that truly is some therm ass shit, man. And I wish I could say the shit with KD was like surprising, but um,
Was it?
he has like things add up. Like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like based off how he responded on Twitter and some of the things he's gotten into. But yeah, I you said enough on it, bro. I did get a little bit of a laugh out of it. Mainly the part when KD was like, "Meet me at this particular steakhouse at 10 in the morning."
Oh,
I'm like,
yes. Oh my
I'm,
God, bro.
I was like,
Like,
"Wait, you'll get it cracking at broad
bro,
daylight, bro."
listen.
Like,
Sometimes people forget my son from PG County, Maryland, bro. The
yeah, yeah,
motherfuckers,
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't play over there. So
yeah.
that
Right.
was to me, that was the funniest thing because it was like a lot of people were like, "Oh, wait, did you just tell him to meet up?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
no. He
bro."
said, "Come
Like
see me."
about that action. And the
Yeah.
funniest thing, which I died laughing at, is that Rappaport, as soon as that happened, he was like, he just changed his tune immediately. I was like, oh yeah, so you went for some hard white dude from the Bronx or wherever you from in New York, and now you like, oh, you middle class white Plains New York white man now because you about to start exposing shit and yeah,
Yeah,
lame ass dude. But yeah, KD definitely needs to check himself because he said some shit and I was just like, yeah, bro, that's not it.
you too grown,
Yo,
bro. You too
yo,
grown.
your mom and I didn't raise you that way. Gotta be better. Gotta be better.
Yeah, bro. How old's KD? What, 33?
yeah. It's funny because KD is older than me. For those who don't know, I'm only
Yeah,
29, so he is 4 years older than me. So
yeah.
if y'all have seen Don't Be a Menace to South Central, you understand it's possible because they depicted it in the movie.
Bro. But yeah, man. I really hope they got it for 50 grand too. Adam got it for 50K, right? That was a fine.
Yeah, laced them 50K,
That's
bro.
50K not light, man.
It's
That is
not.
not light.
It's
He's gonna
probably like
be
$50 to him, but that's still 50K though. Like
right. Right.
tough.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. It's just a lot of stuff been going on, man. And on the topic of KD, even recent news, like him and Draymond linked up. We was talking about this. They linked up
Mm-hmm.
on KD's pod called The Etceteras, hosted by KD and Boogie. Bigly Pleasant. I'm blanking on his actual name. That's his Instagram.
Yeah.
That's his Twitter handle. But yeah, they're in the Etceteras together under the boardroom. And so yeah, I think that was dope for a lot of people to see because those who don't really know, like Draymond and KD are actually close friends. And like
Mm-hmm.
most people, and you got your brother, like you have a falling out. And so it's been interesting to hear like their perspective on things. You know what I mean? Like Draymond, that whole thing that escalated, like Draymond was like in his mind, like he wasn't even trying to go score. He was trying to go pitch it back to KD, and he dribbled that shit off his leg. And then, one thing led to the next. Now they arguing, and now the shit's
Right.
blowing up, right? And so, and then you had like them talking about like the iconic meme where like it's the video like you hyping up your boy, and Draymond's talking to KD, and it was like, yeah, Draymond explained like you just telling KD couldn't nobody fuck with him. So it was just interesting,
Right.
man, like to see like these different player-led and ex-player-led interviews because it's just really giving insight to who some of these people really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think whenever it's player to player, I listen to a lot of NBA podcasts, and whenever it's player to player, there's always like a different level of like authenticity that I feel coming from the person getting interviewed because there's a level of we can relate because we're both on this level. That's why I love Knuckleheads podcast with Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. That's why I love JJ Redick's podcast. I even listen to Duncan Robinson's podcast sometimes. Matt Barnes, all those guys, because there's a level of like realness because we both been and lived this experience, so like we can kind of level. And it's funny because you brought up a lot of things over us like recording as far as how like we just for whatever reason forget that obviously we know the reasons, but we forget that just NBA players are just human beings, man. Like how you used to mention how like it's ridiculous that people have issues with athletes who want to move around and change teams and stuff. Same thing goes for just like people want to make these feuds and these disagreements like mean so much. Like people were surprised probably that KD and Draymond were doing a podcast together, but it's just like It's like, how many times in your regular life have you had an argument with a loved one, uh, friend, anybody like that, and y'all had a
Yeah.
little bit of a falling out, and it's just
Yep.
like, these dudes are just human beings, man. So they're not going to be sitting up holding grudges for years and years to come.
Exactly.
Sometimes it does happen, right? Given the particular situation, and some cases, media can actually have some effect into like actual the personal relationships. But I'd say for the most part, man, you got to understand like these dudes are grown human beings capable of apologizing, capable of talking through things, and you'll find that like the beef amongst NBA players is oftentimes dramatized, uh, as opposed to like what the real needy greedy and how these relationships actually are. I mean, trust me, there's some dudes that hate each other for real, but for the most part, um, like there's a level of respect, and a lot of these guys are friends, and yeah, that's really all I got on that.
Yeah, it's man. I just think, like you said, I think that was well put. Like on, these players at the end of the day, just being humans, like the rest of us. Like they get into things, they have conversations, like, and it's just like them being them. Like the funny thing is, like we talked about like, Draymond Green came out and said he was like the best. Defender all time. And Tony Allen was like, you the best what on Twitter. And like, it was interesting because like you saw people like try to blow it up and they just going back and forth and like making jokes. But it's like, bro, it's the same thing that like you and I or like you and somebody else or me and somebody else would do. Like, it's like, bro, they just joking around. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like just because they're famous and well known does not mean that takes away like the whole purpose of it, bro. Like,
Right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying? Like they
Just
just
shooting, just
kicking
talking
it, bro.
shit.
Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, and people be trying to be like, oh my God. I'm like, bro, come on now. Just relax.
yeah. Just relax. Yeah. Well, that's basically all I got. Unless you had anything else you wanted to discuss for this week.
Um, yeah, I think it'd be remiss, man, for me, just as a music fan, but I'm gonna tie this
Oh
into
man.
basketball because Earl Simmons, aka DMX, the dog, the original dog,
Yep,
passed
yep,
away,
yep.
man. And it's just tough, bro, because it's just like DMX, it just says so much raw emotion and
Yeah.
in his lyrics and in his songs. And it just really resonated with a lot of people, and especially in the basketball community. And I think that you can see it the way so many basketball players, so many people in the NBA, from LeBron, Trey Young, who's younger, John Moran, who's younger, like has so much respect for DMX just because of the icon, the storytelling, and like
Right.
there was something that like I want to read from KG that like I just think sums up DMX and how it ties to the sports world, specifically basketball. That was just like couldn't have said it better. So like DMX, KG said this. He was like, when DMX hit, I was already in the league. Because I wasn't out there robbing and stealing, but I was experiencing different shit in the street. Some of the same shit that DMX was spitting about. He barked the same way I did. His voice wasn't smooth. His tone was harsh. His texture was rough. I liked his music. He said it resonated. His beats represented me. He liked the way he said I played like his beats. I was like, what if Magic Johnson came from the hood? Which is a funny ass comment that KG would say. He was like, he's like, that's how I thought of my game. I played like the music I was listening to. I played in your face music, in your face hooping. Hip hop heads putting a hurting on hoopers, and come to learn hoopers putting a hurting on hip hop heads. It's going back and forth. I was I was also living like I was listening to it. So my crew and I would go somewhere with other brothers might be afraid to go. We deep as fuck. We were strapped, and he's like, "That's how you have to travel." He's like, "That was a culture back then." He's like, "DMX gave us anthems, right?" And so it was just kind of crazy because like so many people in the basketball community, it's just if you were a basketball fan in NBA, like it just DMX is your pump up music. He got you hyped.
Mm-hmm.
He got you through some dark times. So like, yeah, man. Like most people in the music world, just the world in general, his family, people are definitely, mourning that loss of such an icon in DMX,
Yeah.
bro, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that was really well said. Nice little quote there from KG. And yeah, man, rest in peace, DMX. I'm gonna go ahead and play, give him some streams. Hopefully, he got his shit set up where the money go to the right place. Because unfortunately, a lot of music artists throughout the years
Yeah.
kind of got, But regardless, I'm gonna give him some streams, and yeah, truly a legend, truly an icon. So yeah, rest of his soul. I'm prayers up to him, to his family. Hopefully, they can mourn with as much grace as they possibly can. And but yeah, man. That's all I got for this episode. A little bit of a somber note, but
I know, yeah, I know.
you always look at it as a celebration of life more than anything.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
And I think we'll definitely hear DMX's music being played a lot this NBA season as things continue. So
yes, sir.
for sure.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to him.
All right, Brody. Appreciate you.